Alright. Okay. Saya titlekan this item composition 101. So it's basic to photography lah, basic to photography. So I think many of you will know this lah. Ini semua is just a refresher course. Yeah. Okay. What is composition? Composition sebenarnya refer to how you want to arrange your subject or items, element dalam a particular image. So in photography, it means paying attention to what is to be photographed and how is it to be placed in relationship dengan other objects dalam image. So essentially, you can ada subject, background, and then how does this subject relate to that background? So, I mean, that is the basic, the most basic of composition. Okay. Now, that you on the internet, you will find basically the guidelines will have between 5 to 9 topics lah atau elements. Generally, first we start dengan framing lah. I mean, if you look at it from this perspective, this is a particular frame. So first you need to know how to frame the picture. Macam sekarang ni muka saya duduk dalam this particular frame. Alright? So how do you frame the picture? Do you frame it tighter? Do you frame it wider? Macam mana? So framing you have to know. The next item is rule of third. Rule of third, I will show you example. Jadi sekarang ni, do I frame my face ni on the third portion ke? Ataupun here ke? Ataupun kalau macam ini, bawah ke? Atas ke? How do I frame this particular subject? Assuming my face is the subject. Background is the relation to the subject. So rule of third, I'll give you some basic example. And then know what is your focus atau what is your subject. Kalau dalam portraiture, very straightforward. Your face is your subject. Ataupun kalau sekiranya the frame is wider, then kita call it this top half is the subject. In portraiture is straightforward. Tapi kalau in other subjects, boleh jadi slightly different. So, but you need to know what is your subject. What are you actually taking? Are you taking the person's face? Are you taking the landscape? Are you taking the hills and mountains? What are you taking? And then the subject is relation to the background, because the background will have to tell a story. Kadang-kadang just the story can be simple. Kalau saya ambil gambar Grand Prix, this is a Ferrari car in Sepang. Tapi I need to make sure ada element Sepang. Okay, so that is I need to watch the background. And then sebenarnya what is the story? The story can be very simple. Car in Sepang. That's it. That's the story. But you need to have a story. Alright? Of course, the other 4 elements is actually to fill the frame. Oleh kerana kadang-kadang you have a frame that's so wide, then you lose the subject, and then what some photographers say, you're not working the picture. So you're not making the picture tight. So you need to frame it tightly supaya bila orang tengok gambar tu, people see the picture, people know what is the subject. And then kalau ada leading lines, make sure how you want to use the leading lines. I'll give you some examples of this lah. So so basically there are 5 to 9 elements, but you need to make sure your first 5 elements must be there. Kalau sekiranya at least in basic photography. Alright? Okay. So I will continue. So this is what I've been talking about. Know your framing. Okay. Just let me stop the name because I just takut sekali lagi ada people who came in late. I need to admit them. Yeah. See, let's see whether there's any more people who's participating. Okay, so far so good. All right. So okay. So the next item is apa nama back to background tadi. So background, you need to know, like I said, the framing. This is the frame. What is the subject? So here I give the example. Oh, ada additional participant ya, kejap ya. Alex Moy. Alright. So you have to know the frame, and then you have to know the subject, and then what is your background. Some people call it canvas. Kalau you tengok, if you do street photography, basically people will say, okay, so can you find a canvas? Because kadang-kadang you find a background that is nice, but then you wait for people to come into the frame. Then, jadi that becomes a canvas. Okay. So this just give some basic. Any question up to this point? Okay, kalau tak ada, I just proceed on. So in portraiture ataupun in I just give example of modeling. This one is quite straightforward. Macam saya kata, if I wanted to take a picture of this girl, the background dia is a waterfall. Alright? Tapi because the waterfall, if dia jatuh macam biasa, then it is a bit messy. Jadi saya nak make it supaya waterfall tu nampak macam canvas. Jadi saya reduce, knowing the camera, so I reduce the shutter speed. Excuse me. I reduce the shutter speed supaya backdrop dia nampak macam a white canvas. Supaya saya boleh isolate the subject. The subject is the model. Okay. So in portraiture ataupun in modeling is much clearer. Tapi cuma you need to know what are the elements supaya you isolate, supaya you focus the audience. Okay, looking at the model, tetapi nak isolate between the model and the background, there is a separation supaya the subject pops out. So that is one example in portraiture. Portraiture is very straightforward sikit lah. Cuma you need to worry about lighting dan sebagainya. So then we take another example. Same thing tadi, macam you tengok, this one is I position the model on the slightly offset supaya at least anda kata, if I want to use this picture to put some kata-kata hikmah, then I can put it on the left hand side. Okay, tetapi at least this one I'm trying to obey my rule of third. Same thing here dalam kalau sekiranya kita ambil street activity. Here I was in a warehouse, in a pasar borong. Pasar borong. So I wanted to take the activity of the person pulling the basket of oranges, tetapi dalam cahaya pasar borong. So pasar borong ada diffuse lighting. Jadi saya boleh dapat the kind of diffuse lighting, and then in order to separate sikit, saya bukakan aperture tu supaya the subject, which is actually orang yang menarik the oranges, is separated and then blur out the background sikit. So I use bokeh as a separating technique. So on the right, kalau saya this one I was in Japan, jadi saya nak ambil the activity in Japan ialah rickshaw puller. Rickshaw puller is well known in Japan, or in at least in Kyoto. But I need to set the context supaya that rickshaw puller is in Japan. Jadi saya kena cari landmark yang ada in Japan yang orang boleh relate. Oh, rickshaw puller in Japan. So that's the story. So subject, rickshaw puller. Background is the pagoda in Japan. So that is one example of balik kita pada composition. This is just basic composition lah. I can only speak about what I know saja sikit. Saya pun bukan tahu banyak sangat. I don't know too much anyway. So I just know the bare minimum. Okay. So ini example untuk street activity. Kalau this particular example I took for the Thaipusam punya celebration, I need to take a background yang boleh menyatakan where am I. So sekarang ni you boleh tengok dalam picture tu, this is Well Key in Penang. So Penang dia punya cara celebration ialah dia akan lempar coconut, kelapa. And then I want to capture the essence of the breaking of the coconut. Although some of you may think it's a bit reckless pasal saya duduk betul-betul depan dia orang tengah baling coconut tu. Jadi memang basah kuyup dan also ada kadang-kadang tempias kena coconut tu lah. But I guess this was the best angle I can take menunjukkan what they are doing. So I went in front of them. Bila dia orang tengah baling tu, saya duduk depan dia orang in order to get, okay, baling kelapa di mana? Di Well Key, Penang. So that is happens to be my background. Okay. This is back to the example bila saya buat sports, sama juga. So I need to get landmarks, background dan landmark. Subject, car racing. Landmark, orang nak tahu kata ini Sepang, you must have a bendera Malaysia. So my favorite place, kalau siapa biasa dengan Sepang, this is corner number 2, corner number 3. So this is dia ada gambar dia ada flag of Malaysia. Ataupun the other one, landmark of Sepang is the mushroom punya podium. Kalau gambar sebelah kanan tu, Porsche tu ada mushroom podium, so people will look at it and say, this one. So that's how saya subject saya in relation to the background. So that's how my basic composition is. This is for sports lah. Tadi saya bagi example untuk street, saya bagi example untuk portraiture. Kalau landscape, sama juga. You notice saya akan try to find ciri-ciri yang menunjukkan this is Malaysia. This one cuma saya tak boleh tunjukkan this is Terengganu. But this is actually taken in Terengganu. So happen saya tengah jalan tepi pantai tu, nampak satu boat di mana ada bendera Malaysia. Tapi kalau if anybody of you who knows nak ambil gambar sunrise ni, kadang-kadang you punya metering memang out sikit lah. Jadi what I normally do is because I always carry a torchlight in my pocket. Jadi saya gunakan torchlight tu untuk shine dekat bendera tu. You tengok bendera tu ada shadow sikit. Kalau tidak, bendera tu akan tenggelam. Pasal saya dah meter on the sun sebelah belakang, on the sunrise. Jadi saya guna torchlight, shine dekat bendera tu, dan saya dapatlah gambar bendera tu terang sikit supaya tak adalah tenggelam. So untuk landscape, these are some of the things. Sama juga normal framing, saya framekan. Okay, saya nak gambar boat. Saya nak gambar ada apa nama ni. Sekejap ya, tengok apa ada chat. Okay, alright, from James Low. So saya ambil gambar ni. So maknanya saya ambil gambar frame the boat, the background which is menunjukkan sunrise, and then ada ciri-ciri this is taken in Malaysia. So that's one example lah. That's in landscape. And then tadi, kalau we have done all the basic of the of the 5 items, so they managed to use the frame, use the rule of third, focus on the subject, look at the background. Then kalau kita nak carry on further, then we can go to take it the next step, the last 4 items. The last 4 items is basically try to fill the frames, make the shot tighter. Jangan bagi the subject banyak sangat supaya audience tak tahu what are you focusing on. Macam ini, saya nak ambil the basket punya weaver, saya menunjukkan basket, dia punya jari sikit dengan the uncle yang tengah weaving the basket. Ataupun kalau saya pergi ke zoo, saya ambil gambar gorilla, I'll try to fill in as much the frame as possible to make the shot apa yang kita panggil a bit tight lah. Yeah? Jadi tak ada banyak sangat background yang apa orang kata will confuse the audience. And then kalau ada leading lines, then you can use leading lines. This is a shot in Mongolia, basically to show that because there's a road going in, so it creates depth, it creates many layers. So they are the leading lines. So if you have ciri guna leading lines, use the leading lines to create depth. But at least your focus, the subject here is actually the road. And then the secondary background is the mountains. So road leading to mountain. So that's the story. Kalau ada pattern, kata macam there was a dancer in Myanmar, saya tengok the dancer tu, saya terfikir, how do I make the background to be clean dan ada symmetry. So I will try to position myself right in the center. Jadi that's why preparation is important. Bila you sampai location, you sampai kawasan tu, kadang-kadang it's good to jalan dulu. You jalan, then you tengok, oh, okay, dancer ni selalunya duduk that's ada macam small stage. So you know that is going to be the centerpiece. Jadi, duduk, position, sit down, depan-depan the audience. The next was this dekat Iceland. There's this place called Solar Voyager. So Solar Voyager, saya dah fikir, okay, the backdrop looks nice, ada ice mountain, but how do I capitalize and make this shot a bit mysterious? Jadi saya use the symmetry of the Solar Voyager and purposely positionkan supaya ada some kind of symmetry to this particular item. Okay, so that's sometimes you can use these other tricks. The other one is to create depth and layer. Of course, this one sometimes it depends on timing, because in photography, a lot of the obsessive photographers, dia akan try to go at odd hours lah. Selalunya kalau katalah in this one, these 2 pictures are from Bromo. Jadi Bromo ni a lot of people want to take the sunrise. And then bila dia in the morning, dia akan ada lapis of mist. So you know that you can get a good subject as long as you position the subject. And then you can use the mist supaya to create depth and layering. So this is how you take, you use depth and layer, so you nampak the frame, oh this, you tahu dah, this one is landscape. So landscape, how do I know this one is in Bromo? Selalunya the horseman of Bromo is the most significant punya subject. So you suruh uncle pakcik tu, you bayar dia apa RM50 something like that, dia kata so duduk situ. Duduk situ, and then you get into a subject, and then background tu ada quail dia, your canvas and your background. So that becomes the picture. So you must be able to see that picture, alright? So lastly, just to conclude lah, sebelum I open up for Q&A. Saya punya philosophy of photography is simple. It's about this triangle lah, saya panggil the triangle of photography. First, you need to equip yourself with equipment. Dulu Cik Syaban pernah tanya saya, kalau handphone boleh tak? Boleh. Handphone is an equipment, but you need to know how to control and use it. So equipment is one thing, knowing the light is another, but you have to have knowledge, and then you need to look at the situation and look at the subject. And opportunity. Kadang-kadang you tak ada kamera, tapi you ada handphone, tapi ada opportunity. So sometimes opportunity will give you a good picture. But by having knowledge and your equipment, you can have control. So at least you can control. With your knowledge, you have control. With your knowledge, and you look at the situation, you can have creativity. Okay, this situation, how do I frame this? Where do I sit myself? Do I take it from the eye level ataupun dekat bottom? And then, kalau kiranya you ada complex situation, you use complex equipment. But that doesn't mean that you need to have complicated equipment. But at least you must understand limitation of the equipment. So that is my philosophy of photography. That's why I do a lot of things. So eventually, in order to create knowledge, so I do many genre, but at the end of the day, it's about knowing your equipment, knowing the situation, and having sufficient knowledge. So at the end of the day, as you progress, you get a better picture. Because I started photography seriously masa I pension je. So that is in 2017. So from 2017 to now, basically that's my learning process. Saya masih belajar. I'm still in the learning process. So with that, at least I stop now and then I open up for Q&A dulu lah. Sekiranya is there anybody who wants to clarify certain things. Yeah, I stop the sharing. Because tidak, I cannot see the okay. So with that, at least I've given about 25 minutes of lecture, or at least of talk. So if there is any other Q&A, I mean, maybe we if there are any Q&A, you can at least ask now, and then kalau there is no limitation, we continue dalam this meeting will end in 40 minutes. So agaknya apa nama that announcement is not valid for saya punya meeting. So we can continue this discussion. Sekejap lagi, I will create a meeting room dalam Jitsi called PW Putrajaya PJPW2, PJPW2, the conversation room, and then we can continue at least the discussion di situlah. Situ tak ada time limit.
Hello, Matt.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yang saya tengok tadi announcement daripada Zoom sendiri, bahawa hari ini tiada time limit. I think the message that come out is a standard message, you know. Time remaining about in 9 minutes time. Anyway, it's okay. Let's see what happens, you know.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
The time limit is not enforced, then we go on. If not, we just switch to another platform lah.
Okay. Okay.
Gitu. Right. Over to you now. Okay, thank you.
So, is everybody clear about the framing, the composition tadi semua tu? I'm not sure whether I have manage to put across the subject lah, the content.
Okay, Mac. Okay, my feedback to you is quite clear. But you see, when we are taking photos, we are facing something that can be either way. For example, I have got a problem in taking photos of the seaside. When you go to the sea, it's open sea. You don't see any tree there. Okay, which way you take? So this is very, very subjective. So sometimes the cloud may be the subject, or the sea may be the subject, or the wave may be the subject. So I just want to know, maybe you can share your experience about taking photo, about composing, about making composition of the seaside. Okay, thank you. Over to you, Matt.
Okay. Thank you, Badip. Actually, to me, the first caveat saya nak kata tadi is actually sometimes a picture is depends on the person. Kadang-kadang macam saya, I may see this particular picture menarik from that standpoint, but other people may find it a bit plain. So sometimes I become too technical in terms of the picture taking. Sometimes you need to find a difference. I mean, some people find it beauty in other things. Macam back to Badipnya question about seaside. Seaside ni actually there's banyak benda yang actually sometimes you can take. Pada saya, to me, if I see the sea, I would like to, maybe I can find a subject. One particular subject in my mind immediately is actually, can I use the sand dan saya lukis? Maknanya contohnya macam I love KB. Ya. Jadi saya ambil gambar subjek I love KB on the sand dengan the backdrop of the sea dan the backdrop of the sunset. So your scribbling tu becomes a subject, and then your background, the sea, the sky becomes your canvas. So that is one way to look at it lah. Another way maybe is some people will find smaller subjects, macam contohnya maybe macam saya kata, the sea becomes a canvas. Can I wait for activity di situ sampai dia akan menjadi? Example, mak dengan anak berjalan, berpegangan tangan. So saya nak gunakan mak dengan anak tu sebagai siluet. So saya gunakan the sea sebagai canvas. Boleh tak saya guna macam tu? Jadi it depends what you are looking. Pada saya seaside ni saya always find menarik dari segi sunset, sunrise, silhouettes, benda-benda aneh. Maknanya kalau tak ada, saya akan wujudkan, maknanya saya akan contengkan atas pasir tu ke. Bila saya conteng atas pasir, saya kena figure out how do I capture that? Can I go at a lower angle? Bila saya go at a lower angle, baru saya boleh nampak the scribbling. Bila saya go at a lower angle, saya nampak scribbling, katakan contohnya I love Kota Baru. So, tapi dengan background dia ada seaside. Maknanya saya tahu, Badip ni dia duduk relax, lepak dekat Kota Baru punya beach. Example lah, itu saya punya perspektif lah. Other people may view it differently, but the point here sometimes is actually challenging because what is known in photography is actually you need to work the picture. Jadi sekarang ni, how do I work the picture to make the picture crop up? And then back to Badip selalu letak dalam Putrajaya Photo Walk is about, can you see the picture? Because you need to see the picture first, baru you boleh tangkap, then you boleh compose. Sometimes you need to see the picture. You tengok tu, yang ni apa yang menarik dalam picture ni. Jadi macam saya guna this example lah. Saya purposely ambil this example is because saya nak tunjukkan framing. Jadi kalau saya letak terlampau jauh macam tu, nampak frame tu muka saya ni jadi tak not very tight. Tapi kalau saya letak dekat, then kalau saya letak macam tu, saya boleh framekan muka saya ni a bit tighter. Ya. Tapi like I said, whether it's like that ataupun like that, orang kata the audience, maknanya you sendiri kena tahu apa yang you suka. I cannot say that this is cantik untuk saya bukan cantik untuk Pak Adib, kan? I mean that's how saya would answer your question lah.
Okay, Mac, thank you very much for that. May I ask another question?
Yes,
It's about, there are so many things when we start composing. Tengok yang tu, cantik ini, cantik, semua nak masuk sekali. Ada orang cakap, ini satu hal. Yang mana dia kata, Adib, dia kata, buanglah mana yang kau tak suka. Macam mana nak buang? Semua aku suka. So how? I just want to share the situation. You see so many interesting things there that, you know, you do not know which one to exclude. To include, no problem. But to exclude, I find it a lot of problem. Your comment, please.
Okay. Saya pernah tengok satu lecturer lah, tapi dia nama dia Adam Tan. Dia suka ambil gambar yang dia gunakan framing besar, kan? Tetapi bila dia balik, dia buat I call it, dia balik dia buat post processing, maknanya dia akan crop, dia akan pilih, okay, dia nak crop macam ini ataupun macam ini ataupun this particular subject. Kadang-kadang dalam you punya satu gambar tu, you boleh ada sampai 3-4 subjek. Tapi sometimes you need to go back and look at the picture. Can I frame it like this? Can I frame it like this? Can I frame it like this? Yeah. So that is will teach you to at least orang kata try to look at the framing of the subject. Sometimes you, macam Badik ambil gambar yang dekat London tu.
Yeah.
So then Badik start to relook balik, okay, boleh tak saya crop macam ni? Boleh tak saya crop macam ni? But in essence, you are learning to do the framing of that particular subject because you're looking for the subject. You're looking what is the best subject dalam that picture. To me, it's still a learning process. Pada saya lah. Kan? Because sometimes bila kita tengok, memang the scenery tu cantik. Tapi how do you separate the elements to make it more focused? Kalau tidak, the audience will be looking all over the place. Okay? So I hope I give some kind of gambaran lah on that.